I'm live on all platforms. All right. All right. I don't know why I didn't do this before. It just makes my life so much easier.
What?
Having my work computer be like my show to see if I'm actually live on places and if everything's working the way it's supposed to.
That makes sense. Do they track that? Like
D- Who track it?
your work?
Yes. Yeah, they do. They track everything.
Oh, damn. You
Yeah.
just said fuck the law.
Oh,
Well, it's not the law. It's a
I ain't
company
watching no
policy
porn
thing.
on it, so we good.
They're usually okay as long as you're not watching porn and you're not playing video games. Then they got a problem.
So, okay. All right. Yeah, we are live here. We are live here. What's good, Rod? Oh, that nigga Rod came in chat fast as fuck. What's good with you, dog? All right. All right. Now I can see chat this way, actually. Tilt the screen. All right. What's up, everybody? What's up? What's up? What's up? We're still waiting on her dope soul. She should be here in a little bit. But first things first, as always, welcome into the Cool Down Den. Hold on, let me stop this music because now it's in my ear and it's. I do like Eric Benet though. He's good. All right. You ain't. Why are you looking like that? You don't listen to Eric Benet?
That ain't what I thought you said.
Oh. Wait, what do you think I said? What do you think I said?
Don't ask. Don't ask. I was like, what the hell are we talking about already?
All right, okay. Welcome in everybody to the Cool Down Den. I'm your host, Stu. You guys already know what to do, man. We are here for another great episode. This week we are talking about voices and what it is to have a voice. The responsibility behind those voices. What you're allowed to say, what you're not allowed to say, and everything in between, right? Layout. Okay. Yeah, and I don't know why I do that. It be choosing people who want to listen to. Okay. Nah, I gotta do this again. I gotta work on this. I gotta work on this. I gotta make sure I pin people so that way. Okay. All right. So we're talking about having a voice. We're talking about the responsibility of those voices and what all it means to be a public figure, right? Um, we're gonna dive straight into it, man. When we're in a time right now where pretty much everyone has a platform. We was just talking, I was just talking to a lady here about how when I lady, I was talking to Bunny here about how easy it is to have a platform and to make money on, especially in the social age we in. But not everyone feels free to use it for multiple different reasons. So the first question I want to pose to the panel here is when you hear the phrase voices versus views, right? What does it mean to you personally? Do you think oh yeah, what do you guys think of person when you guys hear the phrase voices versus views? I'm gonna let Preston go first.
Okay.
Oh, I just pressed mute, my fault.
Voice.
Okay, go ahead, you good.
Voices versus views. Your voice is something that you use. Very much so, like it's just the way you use and say different things. Your views are how you see different things. Your perspective, your upbringing, basically what you feel. Because we can have two similar voices but two different views. And it's just for me, it's very, very different. Just because your views can be shaped by how you were raised, who you were raised by, the community that you were raised in, the experiences you had. It's a lot of different things that can shape your views, and your voice basically is really shaped by you, in my opinion.
I agree. I definitely agree, man. Just your voice is shaped by you, your experiences, everything like you said. Everything that you said though, like, is very true. In my opinion, just real quick, that like when I think of that question, I've been told this a lot. I've been told this a lot that I say some stuff that's very controversial all the time on my stream, sometimes on my podcast, and a lot of people say, "Ace, do you need to watch what you say so you don't get canceled?" And so it's just like, so when I think of that, I think of like, God dang this camera! I cannot wait to buy a new camera. Make sure y'all subscribe to the Cooldown Den podcast so I can get a new camera. This shit is annoying. But yeah, the way I think about it is like, yeah, I think a lot of times people say the right things, or they limit what they truly mean or how they truly feel, just to make sure that they get the views that it's supposed to get. That's how I see it, right? That's how I see it. But Bunny, what do you think when you think of that question? Voices versus views. What comes to mind for you?
Um, First thing I would say, voice immediately is what you're willing to be loud and defend wholeheartedly against.
I
So,
like that.
like, it is what you're willing to say, no fear, no judgment, no nothing, and not caring how it's perceived. A view is something more that's just, like he said, shaped by everything around you as well as how you interact with those things. Um, it's something that it's unique to only you. No one else can have your viewpoint. They can sympathize, empathize with it, but they can't have your exact viewpoint.
True. Very true. Nobody can wear them shoes but you, lady. What
Mhm.
about you? Voices versus views. What is your opinion on that? Which one holds more weight in your opinion?
Right. So I was listening, but your voices are how you choose to express. Yeah, but and yeah, your views are how you perceive things. But I feel like both all things are both things are stimulated by exterior things. Like people always going back and forth about like my true voice is like oftentimes not internalized. It's someone else or something else or someone else's perception of the world. Yeah.
Hmm.
So I can't decide which one is stronger because I feel like that's a you thing. Like you can see something one way and have a hard time voicing it and expressing it, but like how you understand it, like your view on it is like common to how someone else has expressed it. Does that make sense?
It does. It definitely does. Sorry, I just dropped my whole like shit over here, and so I've been trying to fix that, and it's not gonna fix. Okay, this fuck me. I get it. Um, yeah, no, 100% though. That you definitely have two different things for sure, and I think that that's the topic that we're talking about today, right? The battle between the two, right? Being able to, because almost all of us are online. Preston, I don't know if you were like online. I know you were talking about streaming and getting into different things, but all of us here are streamers for the most part, and we definitely have to walk that fine line of having a voice, having our platform, but making sure we say the right thing so we don't lose viewers, right? I literally walk that line every Sunday here on the Cooldown Den because there's been some times where I might have said some stuff that I might have wholeheartedly believed, wholeheartedly what might have thought was true, or what I knew or whatever, but it may not have been politically correct, right? So because of that, like you said, Bunny, all the online spaces are pretty loud. Like the online spaces can be very loud, opinionated, and often unforgiving, right? So do you think people today feel more free or more fearful when sharing their opinions online?
Oh, they feel free as fuck.
Free.
They feel free as hell because they think nothing's gonna come back on them. There's no consequence for their actions. And then every time there is consequences, it's, oh no, whatever have I done? How can I ever fix this? I apologize. Tear. So yeah, no, they feel free as fuck.
I think I just broke something. Yeah, they definitely do. They definitely do. I
Yeah.
seriously apologize. It's just driving me crazy over here. But no, people do feel free. People feel free, and why is that? I know we talked about this last week, right? We talked about this last week about people who feel really free behind these little four boxes right here. But then, like, you meet that same person at IRL, they mad quiet. So, Preston, I'm gonna ask you, man. So, do you think, like, why is it people are so free online instead of IRL?
Because it's a community, it's a space where I can express myself and have really no quote unquote consequences behind it unless you see me in person. And 9 times out of 10, most people, you hardly ever run into them in person. That's one. Two, and then when most times when people do see each other in person, they just like turn their head and go the other way. Or you be like, oh, or immediately after you done saw this person, oh, I seen you today. I didn't speak because yada 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 or whatever. Because it happens, or you may not even be sure if it was that person. People have different personalities online. They got filters on this side, and then when you out here in the real world, you look completely different. So it's a little bit of both. I just think that a lot of times the internet has given us a freedom and a space to express ourselves in different capacities, and people haven't understood the capacity of how much that they have the freedom to do that, and or that there are consequences with certain people.
Yeah, people haven't realized the freedom that online communities have, right? So that's what I took from what you said, like the freedom behind it, right? The freedom of being able to say what you want, right? So what sparked this episode for me was I was looking at this whole thing with Jimmy Kimmel. If anybody in chat, if y'all know what's going on with Jimmy Kimmel and I was gonna say Jeffrey Dahmer. I forgot the dude's name. Whatever that dude podcaster's name was. I don't even know. I didn't know nothing about
Charlie
him.
Kirk.
Yeah, Charlie Kirk. Thank you. Because I don't know why Jeffrey Dahmer popped in my head, but Charlie Kirk. I literally don't know why that name popped in my head. But yeah, Charlie Kirk, man. I think if I remember correctly, that was the guy who was like famous for like he sets the table up and says "change my mind" or something like that. Was that him?
Okay, so a little bit of what he does is he spews a lot of social rhetoric that incites violence. And naturally, he does a lot of stuff that is against people of color. And his viewpoints have really radicalized a lot of people. And within this Trump administration, it is basically like another person to advocate what he believes. And so with that, it has been in different platforms. He's been on 20 versus 1 or Change My Mind or whatever that show is, where he just sits down and debate with people. And on top of that, he was at a college in Utah, if I'm not mistaken. And again, sparking his rhetoric up. And his last words were, "If a gun causes violence, it causes violence." And he ends up dying by a gun. So that's kind of really what it was. And then Jimmy Kimmel came on a couple of days later and made a comment about it, which at that point a lot of people had. But I think that because his viewpoint was a lot different than a lot of other people's, they wanted to cancel the show, which the FCC director and Trump are like this. So,
Right.
and on top of that, there was another company who was in the process of wanting to buy some more companies and TV stations, which would allow that company to have more than 33% of the market. So,
Mm.
which put a lot of other different things, when you control the market, everybody knows when you control the market, you can control what people see.
Right.
And ultimately it turns into what we see in other countries in dictatorships. So I'm gonna show you exactly what I want you to see. I'm gonna, kind of really dumb down and take everything else that I don't want you to know about and put laws in places so that you can't, essentially even view that stuff.
True, and I think that's happening a lot. That's definitely happening a lot. Lady, I mean, we're gonna move on to this question, but I know you didn't get an answer that. So I'm gonna ask you to answer this one. Going going based off of what Preston said, where do you think we should draw the line between free speech and harmful speech? Because like Preston just said, Charlie had a lot of harmful speech in the things he said towards the black community and towards women, a whole bunch of other people, but that's his free speech, right? That's his point of view. So where should we as a community draw that line?
Okay. To a point, I have a lot of what I have to say goes around, I guess, like, being accountable or being responsible for the platforms that we're on talking.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, you have freedom of speech, but then when you're on social media sharing your opinion, but then I draw the line with, for you to share a point, you have to bring someone else down with anything. If you can't share your opinion without saying, well, but this person is totally wrong and you have nothing other than your opinion, like, opinions are assholes. We all got one.
And some of them saying,
And just like, but my thing is, you have to be responsible, and then you also have to have a community that's not a bunch of yes men. Like, they gotta, like, it ain't about being politically correct. Be accountable, have a value system that you're like, okay, I'm going to express this opinion in this way that it's within my values, that it's not disrespecting or bringing down this other group of people. It's just, hey, I feel this way about this. This is why I feel that way. In the story.
facts.
So,
Okay. Thank you. So what about you? What about you, buddy? Do you think that you know where do we draw this line? This is the line that's a lot of people stutter with back and forth. They go back and forth about it. Where does it become disrespectful to be honest with, well, your version of honesty?
When it becomes detrimental to someone's mental, spiritual, physical, and emotional well-being.
Okay.
When you're doing something or saying something that is actively harming someone else, whether it be stereotypes made against them, um, judgments cast upon them. Heck, everybody saw what happened after what was it, 9/11, with
Hmm.
one whole demographic of people.
Right.
They didn't care if you
Mm.
even remotely looked like it. Same thing with COVID. They didn't care if you even remotely looked like it. Them judgments was on you.
True.
It was yeah.
No,
So
that
once
is
it
true.
gets to that point, it's no longer freedom of speech. You're just harming people, and you
Okay.
want to see the world burn.
Not everybody can be Joker. Not everybody can make the world burn for sure. Cause okay. No, I definitely hear you on that because that was actually I was gonna play devil's advocate here. I was, but I think you made that very clear. 'Cause I was going to play devil's advocate and just ask a question here, mind you, not my views, just want to get both sides. How do you? This is my question. I'm still gonna ask it. How do you know, right? Because we also live in a world nowadays where everybody and lady, don't you already about to jump on me? Stop. Let me ask a question. How do you know, right? Because we live in a world now to where, and I think I was talking to Preston about this. A lot of people are soft, right? And there are maybe some people who, well, okay, soft is the wrong word. Soft's the wrong word. Let me see. Look, I'm already about to get canceled. Look,
I mean,
soft
a
is the wrong word.
snowflake's a snowflake at the end of the day.
So it's just
Come
like
on.
because how do you know, like, for instance, especially with when you have a platform, for instance, right? This podcast, for example, I don't know everybody who watches this. I do my very best to respect everybody that comes on the show. Now, obviously, Charlie Kirk did not. He does not care to respect people. He gonna say what he got to say and whatever. That's whatever, right? Me personally, I try to respect everybody that comes on here. But even with me trying to respect everybody that comes on here, I'm gonna fuck up. I'm gonna mess up. I may say things because I don't know everybody who's watching's trigger. Everybody has a different trigger. So with that, I guess that's a question that's not on this list. At least I don't think it is. Let me go back and look. Is how can you manage what you say or what you do when you don't know every outcome? Because nowadays you can get canceled for an accident, for an accidental thing, because you had no idea somebody's trigger.
I have something to say. Can I say it now?
Okay, yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
So that all still goes back to what I said earlier about having personal responsibility and accountability. Also, know your fucking audience. Know who you're talking to, and at that point, anybody that pops in and is offended is not part of your demographic and not your intended audience. Now, as long as you're not over here hate speeching, like your fans that are your fans, or your people that are your people, your tribe will come
Right.
and they will know your heart, because if you have this character and integrity and you're accountable and you have a value system that you follow when you speak, and you're not just out here being flippant with your words because you have a platform. You decided to have a platform. That's your problem and that's your responsibility.
True. True.
You
Yeah.
can't get mad about, and then and it's also like you gotta walk that line of knowing your audience, being responsible with your words, and also not being a people pleaser. Express yourself, know your people, but you don't have to lick everybody's asshole to make them happy. They
I'm
didn't
more
like
of
what you
a
said. They don't need to be
kissing
here.
person. I'm more of a kissing person myself, but no, no, I hear you though. Did I miss something? Oh, I thought her dope soul was trying to come in. Yeah. So prayers. So I don't think I asked you this. So where do we draw this line, man? Where does the line go between harmful speech and respect, or just being yourself, truthful to yourself?
For me, I feel like anything that you got to kind of question right there, that right there should automatically let you know, like, okay, yeah, that should probably be out. If you have to, like, let me think about this. If you got to think like that, then you automatically know that you will probably offend somebody. And
Mm,
again, offense is one of those things where um, it's easily given or taken at that point.
mm,
And there are a lot of things and aspects and things that are happening in the world today where people the level of sensitivity is different from when we were probably kids. And there's a lot of things that in our community in general that we needed to probably talk about in that space and we didn't. And
mm,
because now we're in a space to where all of these different things are completely different, we adapt to different things. So whereas in where we were probably younger, therapy was unheard of. It was out there, but in our community, you didn't do it. It was one of those things where like you did that if you was extremely crazy, or we just gonna take you to church. We're gonna pray for you. We're gonna get through this. And I am a firm believer in prayer, but you also some of us need therapy too. We need prayer and therapy.
need both.
Yeah. So I'm a like I just think that the timing has changed for a lot of different things, and because we all carry a phone in some capacity, or we all have these social platforms, it gives us a point of reference to say, hey, this is my platform. This is what I want to say on here. This is X, Y, and Z. But it goes back to what she was saying earlier. You have to, number one, be cognizant of who your audience is. Number two, be aware and be self-aware and hold yourself to accountability to know, like, if this is what I'm saying, it's only two outcomes in this. Either people are
Right.
going to agree with it or you're going to offend people. And you're the person who can control all of that. Because number one, you got to shoot it. So if you say it, or unless you're live, you still are up there. So it's got to come out of your mouth, or you got to type it out, whatever that looks like. So you are in control of that. That's where all of that falls back on you. So beyond anybody else, however they perceive it, is that's them, but it's all on you, because if I don't say it, you can't never be offended by it. If it's just a thought or it's just words that I wrote into myself and I never say it or I never put it on any platform, it's all on me. So it really goes back to you, honestly.
It
But
does.
the line on that is, you can say everything right and still offend somebody. You can politically say X, Y, and Z, the words that are, for whatever and whoever and all of this. Somebody can still be offended. So it really comes back to the person. And I told you this earlier when we were in, just in the lobby, just talking a little bit. You can always just swipe past somebody's stuff, block them. You don't have to entertain anything that they got going on. If it's an in-person conversation, you can always walk away. You have a choice to what you consume as well. Just as I have a choice of what I spew out, you have a choice to what you consume. So it all goes back to everything is a personal choice. That's just me. It's not law. I just feel like that everything is a personal choice. And the moment that your quote unquote personal choice is taken away, then we have more problems in other areas. But for the most part, what you consume and what you say is all a personal choice.
Man, you said that, you hit the nail on the head right there. It's a personal choice. I'm a firm believer in that. I'm a firm believer, and it's a personal thing, right? Uh, per, and I'm gonna say this: I'm not a big believer, a big fan of cancel culture. I'm not. I don't think cancel culture and for the reason because it's gotten too big and too crazy, right? Cancel culture has wanted to cancel people just because that nigga wore a black shirt today and it's offensive to the people who wear white shirts. It's going just it's crazy, right? It's just going out of insane. And so cancel culture has become one of those things that's really just toxic in a way, right? Really, really toxic. So I'm gonna open this up to you, buddy. Do you think cancel culture is protecting people or silencing people's honest expression or viewpoints on certain things because they're so afraid of being canceled, of losing their platform, like Jimmy Kimmel almost did?
Um, I'd say it's a little of both, actually. I know that sounds kind of impossible, but hear me out. In the one hand, it is protecting those who need to be protected by being, stop it, there you go. Sorry. Um, it's protecting those who need to be protected. Please don't do that. Please don't jump out my lap. He's a daredevil. It's, he he looks special. He looks special. Um, Anywho, you know what? Since you want to get down, there you go. Be free. There we go. Um, Sorry about that. And I just lost my train of thought.
No, you good. You go. I'm gonna ask it again. I'm gonna ask it again. I'm gonna ask it. So, do you think cancel culture is protecting people or silencing people's honest expressions?
It's both. It's protecting those who need to be protected, especially like the children and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Case in point, what was it? Nicki Minaj and Cardi B.
Mm.
They brought up each other's children on like in a Twitter beef, and it was some shady ass shit. Like they was saying some shit, but they both, apologized and recanted, so to speak, just because they knew cancel culture could hit them pretty hard.
I didn't even
and
hear
they
those
didn't
lyrics.
want
Now I
that.
got to go back and listen to them lyrics. I want to hear
Oh
them.
no, no, no! It wasn't lyrics. It
It
was
wasn't
written on
lyrics.
Twitter.
Oh, on Twitter. Yeah, Twitter is just so toxic. I love it, but it's so toxic.
Yeah, yeah. No, you gotta
Twitter
look it
is
up.
Twitter is so.
They It was bad. They brought up songs like Cardi, not Cardi B. Nicki actually was like brought up Cardi's daughter.
Mm-hmm.
What's her name? Culture,
Something like
and
that. I
was
don't
talking
know.
about some Culture Vultures ugly or something like that. Yeah.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Bringing this why
Called
his
the little
kids is
baby.
actually
Mm-hmm.
insane.
It's deplorable. But again, cancel culture protects them little kids because people was gonna come after them kids on both sides. They
Both,
both would have
yeah.
literally canceled each other out had they not apologized. But then I also think it's doing too much in like those who really are being heavily penalized, like what you brought up earlier. What was it? I forgot what you brought up earlier. My brain just wiped for a second.
I think you're thinking about the Jimmy Kimmel thing.
Yes,
There you go.
thank you. See,
W teammate. W
this is
teammate.
why I love her. She is like awesome.
W teammate. Tap in.
She lifts me up when my brain forgets.
Happens a lot. You know, I told you it's that
It do.
Wi-Fi. It's that Wi-Fi.
It do. It is. It is.
But
No, no, bitch.
we
Your
are.
brain is not wired to the Wi-Fi, so I'm not with it.
Man,
All right.
what? You can't tell me no difference. But
Both of
lady,
you just as bad.
lady, I'm gonna let you go ahead and answer this. So, what do
Yes.
you think? Do you think that cancel culture can be a little bit? It can be OD sometime, right? Or do you think it's protecting people as it should?
Now, I was agreeing with Bunny earlier because the thing is, I feel like from where they started to where it's at, cancel culture is like, hear me the right way, but it's gotten to the point like Black Lives Matters, where it was like the initial cause that it started around got lost in the chaos of people, and then it's like filled in with trolls.
Mm,
There are people that just cancel people for fun
for fun.
because it exists, not because they actually ever did anything. Which is not it's disarming for like serious situations because now people are like, well, I can't look at this real seriously because like it went from a big supportive thing, like people going through actual things or life threatening circumstances, and like somebody helping them to being weaponized just to be like, oh, I can cancel you over anything. Of course you can. Get enough people radical about anything and everybody's fucked.
True.
And then I'm just like, so from where it started, it was, and then it's the way I feel about like politics. It's like you got the people that are too far left, and the people that are way too far right. Cause woke got out of hand.
Facts.
Like I was like, okay, we're trying to be less spiritually poor as a culture. That's great. That's
What they
great.
call them
Like
now?
I don't know.
Hoteps.
I don't know. That's not the point. The point is all of these things lose sight of their initial goals and ambitions, and they don't self-regulate and they don't hold each other accountable. Like there are people that the people that cancel people for sport aren't getting like held to a higher standard by the people that cancel people for serious reasons.
Mm,
So now the few ruin it for the many, and this whole thing is fucked. This whole thing doesn't matter anymore. The good it did doesn't matter because people are just out here like, I felt like it.
mm. And I love what you said there. Well, I love how you brought it up about authenticity, right? Because you're right. You're right. So, Preston, this next question go for you, man. Like especially because online, right? We're talking about online. Everything we do is online. This podcast is online. I know everybody here, besides Preston, online, right? So, like, online has become a very big thing ever since COVID and after that, right? So authenticity is kind of hard to have. So when we're talking about cancel culture and we're talking about having a voice and all these different things right here, um, Preston, do you think social media encourages people to be more real or to perform for approval so that they don't get canceled?
I think that it's twofold. I definitely feel like that some people are their authentic authenticity self on certain aspects, but there are a lot of people who do perform for cameras, and just simply based off the fact of everyone see a lot of people see the revenue from doing social media, whether that's in any capacity, whether that's just promoting an outfit or a brand or whatever, or just doing whatever. So I think that it is a mix of both. There are people who definitely do it for to be themselves and to be real, but there are other folks who do it just to perform, because there are some people who are, unfortunately, as the new term goes, paid actors. So it's you have to understand, and it goes back to what you consume and who you consume. For me, I think that there are people who do it genuinely because they love it, and there are others who do it just for the money. And there you can tell the difference.
And I just muted myself so you didn't even hear that. Yeah, you definitely can tell the difference. I think you can tell the difference. Lady, I'm gonna go back to you. 'Cause I don't think nobody can understand the dog when they talk. So, otherwise I'll let the dog talk. So, lady, do you think that where'd they go? Okay, does social media encourage people to be real, or do people just perform to get these likes and views and clicks and checks from TikTok and stuff?
So I'm not really going to answer your question directly because I feel it's a whole different way about it. I feel like, and this is the reason why I'm not on social media like that. A lot of people go to social media for validation and
Mm-hmm.
people pleasing and to feel good about themselves. Mine is, we're not even going to talk about the income side of things because parents already nailed that down. You get the people that's there for entertainment who need, but you also get people that just get on social media to feel validated. They need they need somebody that's going to agree with how they feel right now because either they don't talk to people and don't have anybody in their corner to tell them, or they just need somebody to tell them that they're right. Because God forbid you run into somebody, you tell them that they're wrong, and you give them a valid reason why they're wrong, then they're
Yeah,
mad. Don't tell me
yeah,
wrong, you don't tell me right,
yeah,
but you're wrong.
yeah.
No, facts. No, that is true. I know we over here being yes men right now, but that is true. How many? Because I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest. And a lot of people have heard my story a bunch of times. I said a bunch of times. I started streaming as a confidence boost, as just because I was depressed and stuff like that. And so having people hype me up definitely was nice, right? But I can definitely see how once you get to a certain point or a certain stage, having too much of that can be
It's addictive
detrimental in a addictive. That's a perfect
It's a
example.
drug.
It's a drug, right?
It's a
because you're
drug.
using that to
Clout.
regulate, and you're not really regulating. You're just, it
Hmm.
goes from you needing validation to you attention seeking. And then people get into attention seeking and people pleasing, it just escalates. And they lose themselves. And they lose themselves before they know they lost themselves.
And that's true. Which is why you gotta have the grounded people. You gotta have them grounded people. You gotta have them grounded people because the grounded people call you out. Like I ain't gonna lie, I got my crew. That when I do get a big head, they be the first ones. Hey Stu, come on now. And now you know. And so you gotta have people in your corner to call you out when you get that big head. Because I ain't gonna lie, there's been some times where I done had a good game on Call of Duty, or I done had 80 people on my stream, or whatever the case may be, and I'm like, shit, I'm that nigga, man. And they like, hold up, that was a good moment. We're not gonna take away from the good moment, but it was just that a good moment. Let's not, you know what I'm saying? So, oh dang it. Okay, yeah. Bunny, I'm gonna let you ask now. Let you answer now. So once again, does social media encourage people to be real? Or do you think that people are just get on here just to troll and do whatever on social media?
Honestly, social media is a place for people to do what they feel is real, not necessarily
Mm,
what is actually real.
I love how you worded that. I love how you put that.
Um, from everything from the trolls down to the rich girl influencers, like the rich kid influencers.
Mm-hmm.
Even they faking it. They might have the money, but they ain't got it like that.
They don't.
At some point, their parents say no.
Some people over here not paying their rent just to make a YouTube video. Like it's yeah, it's definitely
Mm-hmm.
kind of crazy out there. So I love how you worded that. I love how you put that because that man. That's true. Authenticity, like I said, is really hard to come by nowadays because people, and like Preston said, man, it's the money behind it, man. Like people see that check that you can get on YouTube, that check you can get on TikTok, and they like, you know what? If I just fake it for a couple of months, have you believe my stank, have you believe this shit, then they'll fund my stuff because. But it's just crazy, man. It gets to a point where it's just really really crazy. And by doing that, you're not always gonna be politically correct. You're not gonna always be politically correct. Um, being politically correct is what caused this whole debacle with Jimmy Kimmel. This whole thing with just with Jimmy, We're gonna stick with Jimmy for right now. But at the same time, politically correct changes depending on who's in office, depending on who the head honcho is, whoever has control of the politics. So being politically correct kind of changes that. So I'm gonna ask this next question to you, Bunny. Does being politically correct sometimes make the conversations that we are having, like right now, make you feel safer, or does it kill the authenticity? Does it kill how people feel about certain stuff or how they will say about it because they don't want to lose their platform? You know?
Um, I say yeah. I I think you have to water down your conversations to make sure you don't get banned, you don't get demonetized, you don't get canceled, you don't get any of that negative stuff that comes with it. I feel you have to, in sorts, put on a little play to get your point across without offending anybody.
Mm. And which we've already decided, which we've already said, that's so damn hard to do because then people get offended just
Hmm.
because you wore a nose ring. So it's like it's just one of
Somebody
those
got offended
things.
because my hair one day. They were offended they weren't allowed to touch my hair.
I never understood that. I've offended some people just because I decided to put some stuff on my food. I'm like, you're not eating it.
Thank
You're not
you.
eating it. That ain't your hair. You like, you know what? You want to bite? If you want to bite, then you can complain about it. That's how I feel about it. If this is your shit, then if I'm affecting your stuff, then you can complain
Hmm.
about it. If I'm coming at you, if I'm coming at your girl, if I'm coming at your mama, if I'm coming at your okay, then by all means you have something to say. But if it's me in my area, my Stewville, what the hell? And you're not even a part of Stewville. You just somebody that just happened to be looking at it. Nigga, keep walking. Like that's how I feel about it. That's how I feel about it. As long as no one's getting harmed, like there's no one like I'm not beating my wife or something like that. Okay, as long as everybody's cool, then why? Why even care? But that's how I feel about it. That's how I feel about it. So, but Preston, what do you think, man? Do you think that being politically correct can hinder a safe conversation, or does it get people being by having a political banner makes people be safe to have open conversations?
I think everyone's definition of safe is different. So it comes to what that looks like for you. And if it's quote unquote a safe space, everybody in this, whether we agree or disagree or however we feel about it, if this is quote unquote a safe space, and I say something that offends you, you still have the right to say, like, hey, I'm offended by X, Y, and Z. We can go, we can talk about it, we can agree to disagree. This is just my point of view, this is your point of view. But if ultimately this is a safe space, politically correctness for me goes out the window because we can, if we're in a safe space and everybody, and again, it all depends on who you're around and when you say this is a safe space. So I know that this conversation is a safe space,
Mhm.
but I'm not really familiar with everybody here. So it's like it's a safe space, but I'm only comfortable opening up so much because
Right.
I don't know them. Like I don't know them. Like we here now, but I don't really know them like that. And in
Yeah.
other
Facts.
spaces, there are people that I went to college with and we've been through immense things. Whereas if this is a safe space, I can say whatever and everybody can be like, ah, I agree or disagree, or you feel like that's stupid, whatever the case may be. Or you may have an opportunity to pull me aside and say, like, yo, that was a little wild. That you should never repeat those words ever again. So it's you kind of every even when it is said as a safe space, you got to understand that everybody can't consume or have the capacity to understand what you're saying. And it goes back to knowing that and knowing the people you're around. Because again, for me, I could be like political correctness goes out the window, but if for everybody else who's in this, in this safe space, they might need that. And it is really a difference to who you are and what your version of safe space is.
That's good. That's good. That is really good to know the version of politically correctness, because like I said before, it does change. It does change from president to president, from situation to situation, from discord to discord. Like what I can say in discord with Bunny and Lady, I can't say in other discords. Even though we may all be, I'm cool with everybody. I don't hop in discords if I'm not cool with them. I just don't. But even though I may be cool with them, I may not be cool with them on the level I'm cool with Bunny and Lady. So it's just like I definitely understand. Like you got to know. I'm gonna take what you said and put in my own words. You gotta know what level you at with that person, right? What level are you with that person to know what access of conversation do they get, right? So I like that. I like that a lot. So, Lady, same with you. Do you think that being politically correct either hinders people or lets people be free when it comes to certain conversations?
I got beef with verbiage, so I'm gonna address that first because I feel like being politically correct doesn't immediately imply that you're not authentic. I feel like a lot of people hide behind authenticity just to be hostile or aggressive when they speak. It's not necessary. So I feel like it's like what Prez was saying earlier, in a safe space where you're like, hey, we're gonna do politically correct, but it's like, but it is a safe space. So that means coming to this conversation, being open and knowing that nobody's gonna say anything to like hurt you on purpose, but we're gonna speak reasonably. Like
Mm-hmm.
every other word out your mouth ain't gotta be a. There's certain words I don't use because they make me feel some type of way. Like
Right.
I don't call anybody the N word. I don't. I don't call it. I don't like it because I'm like y'all don't even know like people that use it and like, but we made it cool. I'm like it's still not cool. Like the trail history of that word was never been cool. It was never flattering. So,
Mm-hmm.
but there's other words I don't like either. But some like so that, but I tell people that out the gate. I'm like I don't like the word. I don't use it. If I do use it, it's like I think Bunny maybe heard me say it twice the whole time she's known me. So I'm like, all right,
Right.
listen. So being politically correct is, but it's also one of those things that meanwhile if you take it too far, because then people are waiting for you to fuck up so they can jump on you. I'm like, calm down, calm down.
No facts.
And it's like and everything is like politically correct went too far. Like to the point where I heard someone say, "You're not supposed to say someone's dead. You're supposed to say that they're living impaired." Bitch, they're dead. What do you
I ain't
mean?
never heard that before. Living impaired? What the
Roll that
hell?
back.
Right,
Roll that back.
I ain't never heard that one before.
You caught me off guard with that one.
Say that again.
Never. I ain't never.
Look, Buddy's looking. I'm like, yeah.
In all my 32 years of life, I ain't never heard that. If
So
somebody
we the
dead,
same
they
age.
dead.
What? Say that
I
again, lady. You said they not dead. They
women,
what?
They
they're living
they living
impaired.
impaired. Yeah, they living impaired. I done heard unalived. I done heard that. I done heard a lot of different things because on different platforms you can't say dead, so they say
They're
unalive.
living deficient.
Mm.
Nah, bitch, they're impaired. So their state of living is impaired. I get it, but like
To
what?
me, living impaired is crippled. That's how I would think about it. And maybe that word is that word politically correct? I don't know. But look, like,
See, but that's the problem.
see,
It's like,
that's
why
the
does that
thing.
need to be
Like,
politically correct?
but here's the thing, though. I could have just said, "Oh, cripple," and someone who I don't because and this is something
Then you guys like, you're not supposed to say the crippled, you're supposed to say the handicapped.
right, okay, and this is where. Not only did Jimmy Kimmel spark this conversation, this conversation sparked for me because I've been told a lot. Oh, so you can't say that. So you can't say this, and I'm like, when did
You can say
it
whatever you want to
become?
say. It's what you should be saying and what you shouldn't be saying.
Look, even a dog looking at me like, nigga, what exactly? Because when did it become a thing? Yeah, I'm talking. He keep looking at the screen. When did it become a thing to where like there's so many different things where verbiage has changed, right? I understand certain things, like for instance, the Cleveland Indians becoming the Cleveland Guardians. Okay, that is derogatory to an entire race of people. That word is the N word is derogatory to an entire race of people. Okay,
I mean,
it,
Hispanic is not a compliment either.
and see that right there. For me personally, I educate me, please. I don't see how that's offensive because Hispanic is based off of how I was taught. How I was taught was that just means you're of Spanish descent, right? You're just of Spanish descent. Now that's how I have been taught. Educate me. I might be there might be some negative connotations that I don't know about.
So you should ask Ivy. So my friend Ivy was in the chat when you joined earlier. She will get so mad at you for calling her Hispanic because she's Puerto Rican, and she's like I'm Spanish, but I'm not Hispanic. She's like, don't call me that. She's like, and it's not just her, but it's like when I lived in Chicago, I lived in this area called Cicero.
I know.
It's a lot of Spanish people.
Mhm.
Okay. And I'm not talking about Hyde Park. They exist there too. But in Cicero, there's a lot of different types. There's a few Cubans, but there's definitely Puerto Ricans and Mexicans all over the place.
Right. Right.
Nowhere in any high school, the two high schools that I went to there, did we ever call them Hispanic. It's just not socially acceptable amongst them.
And that's where I say it's different depending on where you are, who you are, who's in the room, like Prez was saying. Because where I come from, I was born and raised in Ohio. It's Hispanic because the not I guess you could say the dictionary definition is of Spanish descent. Okay, why are we called African Americans? Because our descendants are from Africa. Now
And
that
that's
doesn't
not
mean your grandparents are from the area. I'm talking about down the
our
line.
ancestors. Our
The
ancestors.
ancestors down the line,
That's not
they
it
came
either.
from Africa, so that's why we're African Americans.
That's
Now
not true.
that's just how I was taught, right? And the
I
reason
know.
why I say Hispanics is because they were Spanish. So yes, Puerto Rican may be where down the line 4 or 5 generations ago, y'all that's where y'all landed and that's where y'all been for 4 or 5 generations. But
No, it's been
if you keep going somewhere the Spanish culture, is there. Now that's just what I've been taught. That's why I'm open to be educated of different things. I'm open. Not some people are not open to it. For some people, they're just like, "Yo, nigga, you Hispanic, and I understand that could be. I think that's for me. I feel that's when they become disrespectful when you're not willing to learn where you're. Like like the like for me when I was just now when I said, "Hey, I only know this way." That's how I was taught. I've been alive for 30 years. That's how it's been. If it is another way, I'm open to learning. Okay.
But the other thing too is like you got to understand like how really impractical that is to think that all Spanish people all over the world originated from Spain. Like really, really, all black people did not originate from Africa. There's like
Absolutely.
you can
But
literally
the
backtrack
biggest,
past
I
that.
think the biggest thing is a lot of people are so uneducated about it.
They
So when,
generalize.
And that's what it is.
yeah,
Yeah.
so it's easy to be like, oh, Spain, that's you know, all of y'all
Yeah,
from
it's
there.
Spain. Yeah, Spanish
And
came from
it's
Spain, so
so
yeah,
much
it's like,
more. And I think that unless if you've ever been broaden your horizon to know or been able to experience it from other people's culture or even either other people's point of view, you don't know. So you go from what you've been taught or what you hear from other people or you've read in literature or you've just experienced online or whatever. And in this day and age, it's so easy for a lot of things to just to consume online. We live in an AI generated TikTok, chat GPT, kind of connotation of everything. And what you say online for certain people is law. So I can take that and be like, yeah, that's exactly what that's supposed to mean, and yada yada yada. And that's just the world that we live in. And a lot of times people don't do their own independent studies and or talking to people who are actually in said culture.
right. 100%. You got to be able to talk to those people who are in that culture because, yeah, this the same way, like, because everybody's story is different. I know we're talking about Hispanic because that's just what we landed on. But yeah, I can say like I lived in Arizona for a very long time. That is a very heavy Latino culture, right? Um, is it Latinx now? I'm
Now I
sorry.
got a question. I got a question. I got a
Okay.
question. Because you just said that. I don't know if you see what you
Okay.
just did there. What's the difference between somebody being Latino and Hispanic? You don't know.
One's Latin descent, I guess.
Nope.
Once again, I
I'm,
don't know.
but I'm
Because
saying
Latin is a language, right? Once again, I'm down to be I'm down
I'm
to
I'm
talk.
just I'm just giving you something that you need to think about and
Okay,
reflect on.
okay.
Like
I'll go ahead and I'll do the research.
I know you
I
will. That's why
definitely
I'm not gonna give you the
yeah.
answer. I'm just gonna tell you you need to think about that. Cause like
Okay.
Ivy's Puerto Rican and she'll be like I'm Latina, but but don't fucking call her Hispanic because she gonna fight, and she can cuss you out to save her life. She called me a soggy butter biscuit today for leaving y'all. I mean for leaving her to come over here.
A
Last time I
soggy
was with her.
a soggy butter biscuit.
What's a
That's
soggy butter biscuit?
I
And
don't
then I
know.
asked her. She said
She broke it
it's the
down too. It's the breakdown she gave.
She said, she said it's the leftover biscuit at dinner that nobody wants.
It's explanation that make it worse.
I'm
Uh
like,
That's
huh.
what
what
it
shit?
is.
That's
Uh
what I
huh.
said. That's what I said. Then she proceeded to call her husband an idiot bitch. She don't need to be cursing nobody out.
I like her. We're gonna get
Oh,
her
I
on the
love her.
podcast. We're gonna have to get her on the
I,
podcast. I like her a lot.
good luck with that one.
So so I'm glad you brought that up about the difference between Latin and Hispanic, right? Because there is differences. The differences, and I will personally go and do the due diligence to learn that because I do want to learn that. I do want to know the difference because just like I always say, there's a difference between a black man and a nigga. There's a difference.
There's a
So
difference between a father and a daddy.
there's a difference between a father and a dad. Thank you. There is a difference, right? So there's differences in a whole lot of different things, right? So I'm gonna pose this to you, Bunny. What do you think the difference is between being loud, right, online? Actually, I skipped the question. We'll go back to that one. But what do you think the difference is between being loud online and being truly heard?
The louder you are, the less they listen. The quieter they are, the quieter you are, the more they understand.
Ooh, she was quoting bunny scriptures. I can't even call it scriptures, but they bunny scriptures. Like, yeah, you're giving clips. She making clips easy for me. Say it again. Say it again. That was good.
It's the truth. The louder you are, the less they listen, which means the less that they hear, absorb, comprehend, and understand. But the quieter you are, the more they actually focus up and be like, you know what? I should try this. Hold on. Let her cook. Let her cook real quick.
Okay.
Those are the ones that you ask for advice and they give you that advice from the goodness of their heart. But when that advice stops coming, it's because you stop listening. And there's no point in them talking and wasting the words. Like I used to tell people back in the day, you ain't finna waste my free minutes.
Hey, hey, man, free
That after
minutes.
9 p.m. sharp,
No,
you ain't finna waste my free minutes.
can we? Can we? I think real quick we need to go back to when minutes cost money.
Yes.
Because I think there are so many things. I think relationships were more pure back then. I think a lot of things were different because niggas like
You had to
I'm
think
literally
about what
having to
you
pay
said.
to talk to you. So since I
Hmm.
have to pay to talk to you, is your conversation even worth this payment that I'm having to do? Otherwise, it's after 9 o'clock. All bullshit is after 9 o'clock because that's when it's free. It's free after 7, 9, whatever plan you was on. It's free. I could talk bullshit after 7 o'clock, but before 7, eh, you cost me money. So what's up? So I think that we might have to go back to that. We might have to go
And low
back to
key,
that.
it solved a lot of issues. Because you couldn't cheat with no if you had to pay for the minutes.
Man,
Because you
hold on.
could read
I don't know
every
about that.
single
People gonna
text
cheat.
message
People
back
gonna
then.
cheat. People gonna
No,
cheat.
no,
People
no.
gonna
You
cheat.
could read every single text message back then on bills.
Oh yeah, true. I mean,
Pause.
you still
You can
can now
still
because
do
that's
that.
word. You can still do it, but
You can
you gotta
call the
ask for it.
bank and ask for transcripts. They'll send it to you.
Yeah, you can do
But
that
it
now,
was
but you gotta pay.
easier to
It's not
access back
hard.
then.
No, it's still easy. It's not hard.
Oh, well,
Listen, I'm
dang.
gonna figure out what my man doing. I'm gonna
See,
figure it out.
ain't about all that. I just dated a guy, and then he tried to call me a liar, and I needed receipts. That's all. It's
Man,
like just because you deleted the text messages, don't mean they didn't happen. Just saying.
we live in a culture where receipts is so heavy, bro. Receipts are so heavy nowadays. People got receipts for everything. People
I ain't
have
got it for
Mm-hmm.
receipts.
everything. I went and got it.
You got to. You got to. So, hey, so Preston, what do you think the difference is between being loud and being heard? Like, difference between being loud and truly being heard when it comes to being online.
I think it goes back to literally what she said. But on top of that, for me, I think that when you are loud, so it's the biggest thing when I don't fight anymore. But at one point, there was a time in my life where I was a fighter. All right. So my uncle always taught me the loudest one in the room is scared to fight. It's the quiet ones that's gonna unalive you.
They gonna
Like
whoop
if
your
there's somebody doing
ass.
a bunch of barking, they don't really want to do that. If they quiet and they don't say nothing, let's just go outside. You already
You
know
better
they
stay
on
your
that
ass in
type
that
of
building.
Mm-hmm.
they on that type of time. So I think that it really goes back to what you said earlier. The more you put it, because you can be loud and wrong. Unfortunately, it's one of those things. Just because you're the loudest, it doesn't mean that your point is getting across. Number one. Number two, it doesn't mean that your information is correct. And three, it don't even mean that people will listen to you because you're loud. For certain people, they start to tune out loud frequencies. It's just like racket in their ears, and they don't even listen to that. And sometimes that it's not about what you say, it's how you say it. So you can have the right message, but because you loud and boisterous and yada yada yada, I don't even want to receive that. Versus if you being, it just your tone of voice and all of the things that you say and do could possibly make me understand what you're saying a little bit more. So for me, I think it's online. It really goes to back to who your audience is and all of those different things. But I definitely think that you can be loud and wrong, and we've seen that in the last couple of weeks here, even with the LSU receiver, like the literally the police department was wrong and loud, so much so that it caused him to unalive himself and take his own life, just simply based off the fact of they were wrong. And for me, I feel like if your criticism is going to be that loud, then your apology and the praise that you give after that needs to be just as loud.
Just as loud.
Louder.
Louder. Well, we know they ain't
Correct.
we know they ain't gonna do louder. You know what I'm saying? Because that's a humility thing. But I definitely agree. So we have someone in chat that said they don't agree with that. So Nails, I want you to type in chat why you don't agree. Or do you think that being loud doesn't always mean wrong, or like what do you mean by that? Because I wanted, because there was a lot of things said. I want to make sure everyone's heard. And while she types that, lady, I want you to give your opinion on this question here. Once again, is what's the difference between being loud online and truly being heard? Like, what is the difference between being loud online and making sure your message gets across?
I feel like I want to know what Nell's gonna say because I'm curious. Because she said that's not true in all cases, but I'm also like, there's two different things that he said. Because he said you can be loud and right, and people still tell you out. It just depends on who's ingesting the content. I mean, that's what we were talking about earlier, was about knowing your audience.
Right.
So like being obnoxious don't necessarily mean people are gonna pay attention to you, because that's what I equate being loud to. Like even like Bunny. This happened with me and Bunny were in a call a couple of days ago. I was trying to tell somebody something and people were talking over me, and then I realized I was getting loud, and I was like, I'm gonna stop talking. And I was like, no, why you stop talking? I'm like, because y'all not listening. And then to prove that they wasn't listening, they asked a question about something I was trying to explain to them. Not even 5 minutes later, and I was like, y'all. One, yeah, I got loud, but then I got loud and said I need to stop talking, because I feel like if I have to get loud to get I feel like when you got to get loud, you're doing it more for attention, not to deliver a message.
And I would agree with that, right? Because here's something I've learned in my 4 or 5 years in content creation. Loud is very good for clips. They're very good for clips, right? Um, no, yeah, Nails, you different. No, Nails, you're definitely different. You're definitely different. I've been in Nails stream, and she's a very loud person. But
That's
when we're talking about loud, when
that's
we're
all we're
talking
talking about.
about yeah, when we're talking about loud, I mean, I think we mostly mean obnoxious, right? Because I think a lot of people can be obnoxious and loud, right? Not just like the volume of it, but the people like who scream and yell about certain things just to get their point across, right? Like, and that kind of goes with what Lady was saying. Like, you gotta, it's different, right? Because when you look at people who I would say is very loud people, when I think of loud, just straight volume, I think of Speed. I think of Kai Cenat. I think of which here's the crazy thing. I don't think Kai Cenat that loud. I think the people he bring on are loud, but Speed, Kai Cenat, I'm trying to think of some other people here. Tim the Tap Man. Um Nick Mertz, not so much, not so much Nick Mertz, but just people like that, who are, and that's where I came up with being loud is great for clips, it's great for engagement, it's great for people like to see those little TikTok 10-second, 5-second clips where it's just like, oh my god, and I think being loud can sometimes drive in a point, it can drive home a point. Now whether that point is right or wrong, it doesn't matter. It's the fact that it drives it home. That's how I see it, right? And it makes it. It's kind of like, and that's how I see it. When you're loud about certain stuff, it's kind of like everybody shut the fuck up. I'm talking, right? Which is fine because sometimes you need to have those moments. Sometimes you need to have a moment where everybody needs to shut the fuck up because I'm talking, right? But it's at the same time, some people are just naturally loud because that's just how their family was raised, and everybody was raised to be quiet. Some people are just very prideful people, and so they're just naturally like that, which is fine. Nails, I love your stream. If someone's obnoxious, I can still receive this message if it makes sense. And that's true. Nails, I'll also say you are a grown ass woman. You are a grown ass woman who has a very strong head on her shoulders, and so your filter is a lot thicker than a lot of other people's filters. I think the whole point of today's episode was, we're talking about people who don't have that strong of a filter. They on social media, they get sensitive about whatever, kind of like how Jimmy Kimmel almost got canceled for talking about something. When you really dive into it, it was crazy that you really are going against them. But like, and that's because people's filters aren't thick like yours. People's filters is, oh my god, that offended me, even though I don't know shit about it. Like for instance, lady could have been super. She could have went off. She could have got really loud about what I said about Hispanic, but she didn't. She's just like, okay, okay, look, that's not really how it goes. You know, I don't think people like to educate nowadays. They would rather just humiliate a person. I think people would rather humiliate than educate nowadays.
I think it's they don't want to educate because it's too much goddamn free information out here that you in your grown ass age cannot just simply
I don't
Google
think
the
I don't think
goddamn
that's
question.
I don't think
No,
that's
I
I
don't
don't think
think
that's the
that's it.
case. I don't think that's it. I think people actually take pride. I think that's it for you, but I think for a lot of people, we're talking about just this online community as a whole here. People actually enjoy humiliating somebody where they could have the same energy like they did to me. Yeah, Stuart, that's not really right about Hispanic, or that's difference between Latino and Hispanic, and you should go look that up. Here, let's have a lesson about it. Okay, cool. That's different than, nigga. What the fuck? Hispanic? What the fuck wrong with you? You wrong as hell. Like it's
Granted,
totally different. It's totally different. You know what I'm
hold
saying?
on. Let's
You
dial it
know?
back 2 seconds because I still read the chat. Granted, what I said was that I've known groups of Spanish people that calling them Hispanic offense. That's not a fact. It is 100% a fact.
Sure.
Now, does it offend everybody? Absolutely not. But for them, there is a distinct difference between calling them Latino or Latina and calling them Hispanics, and they just don't appreciate it.
Mm.
I didn't say that's all Spanish people. I didn't say that was one type of Spanish people. But I said it's been my experience with a lot of different groups of them they're not okay with that.
Right.
I know
Actually,
probably one person that's like, I don't care.
yeah, it all depends on it all depends on your audience is. You gotta know who cares, who cares about different stuff, you know. So the same way that me and you had a discussion about Spanish. So you're talking about honor. Let me see. I don't know why when I look to this screen. I need my glasses. Let me come to this screen so I can see what she typed. So you're talking about ornery. I'm gonna be honest, Nails. I'm dumb as fuck. What the fuck is ornery? The last time I heard that word was in the Water Boy. What?
And so you being ornery is pretty much you being spiteful. You just being a dick.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay, yeah. Loud is something different. Yeah, for sure, for sure, for sure.
Because we were talking.
Um,
Because I was gonna say something to Nels earlier, when she was talking about like being loud and being right, which is kind of something that Prez already talked about. He's like, you can be loud and you can be right. Just know you're gonna run into those people who are gonna tone you out. Because sometimes being loud scares people.
it
It
does.
just does. It's a trigger. Because they're like, they could have grew up with being loud with somebody arguing, and they just, it's not you. It's not a you problem. That was never the topic. But it's definitely like some people can.
Me personally, I don't like getting yelled at. I don't like being yelled at. If I get yelled at, I shut down. That's just me. Now I've gotten better at that, but I don't like being yelled at. If I feel like I'm getting yelled at, I'm gonna be like, and just shut down. It's just like, and I think that comes from my past. That just comes from being yelled at as a kid and all this other shit. But yeah, so like super loud things, I'm very personally, just me personally, I will take. We just have a conversation. You just have if you're very passionate about something, okay, tell me about it. I love it. I will sit here and just eat it up, right? But you don't gotta yell at me, right? I would rather you, because the way my brain works, just with how I was raised, stuff like that. Being yelled at and all this stuff equates to punishment, equates to wrong, equates to, I know that's not the same for everybody else. Everybody's different, but that's just how my brain works, right? Either that, it equates to wrong or party. Those are the only two things, right? I don't know.
But hold
That's
on,
not my,
Sue.
that's how my brain works.
Hold on, because she also went to the other side of the coin, which I wanted to say something about after Bunny said it. Because Bunny's like, you got to be quiet to be heard. I'm like, that's not true either. Because then when you too quiet, people get scared to speak. So Neil said
That's
something
true.
about that.
That trend. So I think that loudness and quiet should be a little bit different here. It should be a little bit different here. Let's change that to say confident versus, I'm gonna use that word just 'cause I like I said ornery. Like confident versus ornery. People who are just dicks and stuff like that. Because I think, like Bunny was saying, yeah, you could be quiet about something, but I think what we're talking about is being soft about it. You can be soft but confident at the same time. You don't have to be loud about it. Like
So
like for instance, if I'm correct about something, I'm gonna tell you, oh, this is what it is, XYZ, boom, boom, boom. And if you combat me for it, okay, I'll be right here. My phone number is the same. You hit me up when you're wrong. That's the person I am. That's the person I used to fight back with stuff now, but now I have learned through life. So many people have come back to me. Have come back to me. Damn, so if I would have just, yeah, it's all right. I know. So I still love you. We still friends. Come on, bring it in. My number's the same. You can hit me up whenever once you go through that situation and find out you was wrong. My number's still the same. Hit me up because I don't argue like that no more. That's just me. I don't know. Call me a dickhead, whatever you want to call me, but I've just learned from experiences. Niggas gonna come back. When I say niggas, I mean men and females. They gonna come back because, and this is not even me saying thinking I'm always right. I just know when it comes to certain things. Yeah, I've already went through that. I can see it. So my view has changed about certain things, right? So I'm gonna go to Bunny with this. So has your time online um changed how you view things publicly? Like how, and if it has changed your view publicly, how did people that was inside your circle respond to your change of your public voice?
Um, I can honestly say, hmm, I've never actually thought about it. So this I actually got to think about. Um, hmm,
Type of. Okay.
I'd say my public, I really, it really hasn't like been too much of a difference, if that makes sense. Like
Okay.
I tend to, my views have always tended to be the same. Now with therapy, my views have changed on a lot of things, but that's in relation to like personal stuff,
Right.
not necessarily politically. Politically, my views have just stayed the same.
I feel that. I feel that. Yeah. Okay. And the reason why I ask is, I mean, how many times have we seen somebody go and say, "Oh, that tweet was from 10 years ago, 12 years ago, whatever," and then because people do that, especially cancel culture. Cancel culture will go back 15, 20 years from a Twitter post from 2006 and try to crucify you in 2025 for something you tweeted when you was 10 years old. And so people obviously change from 10 years old to 30, right? But cancel culture will make it seem like that's not so. So, press for you, man. Same question, man. Have you ever done something, I guess, back in the day, and then your views have changed publicly? And if so, how do people respond to that change?
um, I think that you should always change. There should be, if you're not growing, then you're dying. There should be something that has changed you in some capacity, whether that's a conversation with someone and you did your own research, or there's a life experience that because you can only go so far as where you've been, and you can only take people as far as you've been. So for me, much like she said, you kind of, when she went to therapy, a lot of her thought processes and things that she, kind of would evaluate or go in certain situations change because now you have a different outlook on something. So whereas in where you would probably responded this way before you went to therapy. Now that you're in therapy, you respond a totally different way. Like, oh, I don't have to go and yell and do X, Y, and Z to get my point across. Hey, this is how I feel. These are the boundaries that you have crossed, yada, 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 and said and be said. And then, hey, we can either be cool after this, and if we're not, I'm okay with that because I've said my point and you said yours. We just are gonna agree to disagree, or we just gonna come to the realization that this ain't what it is no more. So I definitely feel like that you should definitely grow in a lot of different capacities. I'll say for me and dealing with being online and a lot of different things, for me now, just because it's posted does not mean it's the truth. Because a lot of times people just go for the quickest thing to like just get rage bait, clickbait, or just to post something just to say I'm the first person to do it. In actuality, they have no idea what they're talking about. This, like you said, I just seen a post about Bronny James having what they were saying was another heart attack. And it was like, it was from the original post 3 years ago. So, and I'm like, well, so you got to do your own research. And I think because a lot of people are just getting posting for clicks and or comment sections and all of these different things to do that, I think that it kind of puts a hindrance on everything that we have now. And to be honest, I question everything because AI is so generated right now that people are posting any and everything and making it seem like it's real and it's really not. So for me, I think that's just my take on it.
Man, let me tell you something about AI. Let me tell you something about AI. I've seen some stuff from AI that is insane. What was it? Tim the Tatman's assistant Whips created a video of Nate Shot and talking about Nate Shot was eating a hot dog and did some other crazy shit. But the video looked so real. Of like it looked just like Nate Shot. His mannerisms, and I'm just like, yo, that's scary. That's actually so scary because with so much misinformation already out there, right? Maybe I'm just a negative person when it comes to trusting other politics and all other stuff. All I see is so much bad things about, and I talk to customers every day, especially older customers, and they talk about, oh, I see this on Facebook, I see that on Facebook. You can't trust this, and I'm just like, these old people buy that, like they buy that shit easily because they can't tell the difference because AI has gotten so good that it's hard to tell the difference. Like now, I can tell the difference with certain stuff because like okay, that person's finger was like melded together or something like that when just because the graphics isn't that good. But like for the most part, AI has gotten to the point where it's very very good. So that's scary. AI is a gift and a damn curse for real. It is. It's a gift and a curse. It's a gift and a curse, and it's definitely really really scary. Um, did anybody not answer this question? I feel like everybody answered this. The difference between being loud and okay. No, lady, have you ever changed your view publicly? Like, let's say 5, 10 years ago, whatever, you said something online, and now you come back and you don't feel that way no more.
I think we said this already. I don't have a big social media presence. I
That's
was
true.
never, I was never that person. Um, but there was some things that was said to me about me like 10 years ago where I like started doing like self development and then I like ran into some things that I said to my mom and then she was like, well, and it was just like my view of myself changed. So I didn't agree with something that she said about me because I wasn't that. I was this other, it was this other thing that was going on. And then and how she responded to it was that instead of trying to understand where I was coming from about like how I felt about that situation, she's like, "Wait, so you're blaming me?" And I was like, "No, I'm trying to inform you, trying to let you know that you thought this way, and this is what was going on with me. When actually, this is what was going on with me, and it's still going on with me, but I'm working on it."
Right.
So that's the best
Right.
example I got.
Okay. Yeah, and man, going back to the AI stuff, because I mean that's just I don't know. That's just it just struck a chord with me, man. But no, like we live in a world where everything's clipped, man. We live in a world where everything's generated, and being fake has become real now. And so, I guess the next question I'm gonna ask, I'll let you answer the first, lady, is how can we have the safe the safe space that we talked about before, prayers, and the genuine conversations, the respectful conversations, when everything that we say can be recorded or clipped out of context or edited to fit whatever viewpoint, whatever the editor wants it to be.
I feel like that goes back to something I was talking about earlier. Because I'm like having your presence online is a choice, and that's just a risk you run. Because I'm like, you know what you meant, you know what you said, you know the context that you said. If as long as you're responsible for what you're saying and who you're talking to, what people do with it and how they choose to weaponize it. Listen, you got the receipts. You got the original footage. You got the whole, let's say, podcast. You know what you were talking about.
Hmm.
So somebody's like tries to take this out of context to use it to advocate for their personal agenda, whatever bullshit factory they trying to build. The people that's for you know. The people that was there know. You know. You can't control what other people do. You can't control how they feel. You can't control how they think. The only thing you can control is yourself. So if you have total control over your demeanor and how you present yourself on a platform consistently, there comes a point where somebody might say, "Clip said, yeah, that's not Stu. Stu would never say something like that. He never back up something like that because you shared your value system
Mm,
and you've been consistent in how you present yourself online."
that's true. That is true. I appreciate that. I try to be. I ain't gonna lie. I try to be consistent. Um, and I tell people who recently know me, like Nels just recently met me here not too long ago. You know, Bunny and them, y'all have known me for Bunny and Lady, y'all have known me for about a month and a half, 2 months now. So y'all kind of new, right? Prez know me for a while, but he's meeting the new online Stu. So it's just a little different, right? Um, but let's say like the online Stu is totally different than IRL Stu for sure. Um, so I guess the only people who can really say they've seen me since the OG online Stu would be like Jay Mello, right? He's been there since 2020 when I first started this shit, and so I actually had this conversation with him not too long ago, where he's like, "Yeah, Stu, man, you didn't change, bro." And I was like, "What you mean?" He's like, "Yeah, man, like how you was in 2020, the things you used to say, how you used to talk about people, men, women, everybody was just such more like divisive. Where now it's just more like you're still divisive because you still have your point of views, and I do. I still have my point of views, and I'm very strong about certain points of view, especially when it comes to dating. Oh, y'all can't make sure y'all tune in for the 26th, okay? Because I got some shit to say on the 26th. So I trust me. So especially when it comes to dating, I have a whole lot of POVs. I have a whole lot to say then. But even still, I used to have stuff to say about everything, right? And I guess as time went on, I just been like, you know what? I don't need to have a battle every single day. And that's what it is. That's really what it is. Is do you want to have a battle every single day about the smallest shit? It really, because at the end of the day, most of this stuff, and I think I saw it was either Castanet or I forgot who said it. And maybe it was Tim that said most of the time after a year, that moment that you thought was a crisis, ain't nobody gonna remember it because the internet is so fast, it's so quick. It's so most people won't even remember that, you know. So it's definitely something that I've learned to just chill out, just chill out. So not everything needs to be heard.
It's
So
not even that it's fast though either, Stu. It's that it's so oversaturated. There's so
mhm.
much information constantly flooding in that people that went out of they go out of their way to dig up some old shit, they were very meticulous and malicious about that journey. They knew
Very
what they was after.
had to be,
Okay.
because if you had to get some crazy, I ain't gonna lie, I do make it kind of easy. If somebody did want to cancel me, I do sometimes make it easy with some of the shit that I say, because and my homegirl Vibes tells me all the time. They say Vibes says, Stuart, I know your heart, and I know you don't mean a lot of shit you say, but for somebody coming in, some of the shit you say, if taken out of context, you make it way too easy to take you out of context. And I was like, yeah, I know I do. But that's how you get them clips. You know what I'm saying? That's how you get people to the stream. Yeah. But that is definitely bad. So, Press, I'm gonna go back to you. Same question, man. How can we build a safe space that you talked about before? How can we build and have genuine, respectful conversations, knowing that anything and everything can be clipped out of context?
For me personally, I think it goes back to where she just said, like, you got the full podcast, you got the clips, you got whatever. Even if you are going to go back and do that, okay, well, hey, cool. Well, you took this out of context. Here, you only took this section of it and you put it at you posting it as rage bait or clickbait or whatever. No, here's the full length of that clip. Here's the whole sentence before and the sentence afterwards. Because it's just, and I'll equate this to the Bible. A lot of times people take scriptures in the Bible and use them as this, and this, not understanding that it was written from a contextual standpoint of what was happening in that time, in that region, and who he was talking to. So it's a lot of different things that people don't understand, to where there are, again, this is a contextual point and basis to where it's specific to this particular person and or this particular situation. So there are things that are in that alignment that you have to understand. And because if you only take this section of something and put that out there, then you only got that to go off of, versus what was said before that and what was said after that. That makes it a complete thought. So I think that the biggest thing is you kind of, when you do anything and you put it out there, it's subjective to whoever and whomever, and how their viewpoints and what their voice is. So it takes a lot of different things to basically, it can be anything, but you open yourself up to that when you put that out there online in any
Right.
capacity, whether good, bad, or indifferent. So that's just really what it is. You open yourself up to it.
Yeah, you definitely open yourself up to it, and that's actually why for a long time I didn't want to do a pod. Well, I did a podcast at first. Okay, that's how, before I even started streaming, and then I was just scared to do another one because people are already telling me, Stu, how you talk on stream is you should have been canceled 10 times already. And I feel like, I used to say all the time, it's my stream. Like you said, Brett, it's my stream. If you don't want to go to Big Stu Gaming and you don't like what Big Stu Gaming got to say, nigga, there are a million other streams on Twitch. Go to them, right? But at the same time, if I want to have a space, whether I'm gaming or doing a podcast, to where my community, my guests, can feel safe to talk how they want to talk, be how they, because me personally, I don't judge. I don't judge unless you out here killing people or some shit, or you eating people or some shit. That's totally different. But like, if you're just like, I told you, I'm friends with hoes. I'm friends with sex workers. I don't judge. Do you? How you live your life? But I, if I want to have that safe space where people are safe enough to talk how they want to talk and not have to worry about the politically correct banner that we talked about before, there are some things you have to do as a creator to make people feel safe in that, and make people feel safe, for lack of better words, right? Like, yeah, I know if I go on a Cooldown Den, man, still gonna be chill. I can say what I want to say, and I have to worry about, lashback or whatever. Now, of course, y'all can say that now because I ain't that big yet. But once I get big and I got 100 million viewers, and you might have to watch how you say, not because of what I'm gonna do, but because of what somebody else might do. But not, but that is just So buddy, I'm gonna let you go ahead and close us out with just this question right here, right? What do
Okay.
you think, or what is a healthy balance between freedom of speech, because that's the First Amendment right, and the willingness to listen look like to you? And when this question was written, I kind of asked myself this real quick because I was like, what does that mean, willingness to listen? And then
It's
I thought about freedom of speech and having to fight for views. So, what do you think? Before I give my opinion, what do you think about that question?
um I I say if you're willing to listen, you're actively listening. You're asking questions. You're engaged in the conversation. You're present. You're attentive. You're trying to understand someone else's viewpoint instead of just going off of your own.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and sorry, I wasn't prepared for this question. I know that you sent me the questions, but I
Shut
wasn't
up, you're
prepared.
doing
I forgot
fine.
about this.
Shut up, you're doing fine. You're doing great. Keep
You
talking.
doing
Okay,
great now. Yeah, do
thank
your
you.
thing.
Um, God damn it. With that being said, freedom of speech, I really don't believe is fully free because freedom of speech comes with a lot of technicalities. Let's just say that.
Mm. Elaborate on that. Elaborate on that.
Um, what I mean by that, I just saw a post on, I think it was Facebook. This girl, black girl, goes to LSU, has a Ring doorbell cam, and you see this white girl hurling racial charged insults at that camera. There's nobody outside. The white girl's not talking to anybody physically, but you could see her turn her face, look at the camera, and intentionally say these words to that camera, right?
Mm-hmm.
She then goes on to start calling her neighbors who happen to be black the hard R, and just like loudly saying over and over again. There, the girl called the cops. After confronting her, she called the cops because she, unbeknownst to us, apparently had a whole bunch of complaints out on her anyway. But the cop lit into her. He said the only reason he can't take her in is because there was not a physical person. But he listed the 7 charges she would have been literally charged with had anybody had been outside at that time. So when I say freedom of speech really ain't that free, it ain't. There are consequences to what you say. It's whether you can handle them that matters.
And I agree. I definitely, because look, that's the reason why I didn't do the podcast for a while, because I didn't think I could handle some shit. Even though I'm who said this shit, I'm like, dang, I might say some shit to piss somebody off, and I'm gonna lose viewers. And I'm almost at 1,000. I'm gonna go down to 800. It's a lot, right? It's a definite lot, and because you have to be able to be responsible for what you say, and know that your platform is at stake for whatever you say, whatever you do. Because we live in a world that is so divisive, right? People can get upset about the smallest thing, and there are people who will take time out their day, even if they are angry, to make sure that you and what you have, whether it's 1,000 followers or 1,000,000 followers, never see the light of day because they hate what you said that much in the moment. Not even to mention that probably 2 years from now or 2 months from now, they probably won't even remember this shit. But it don't matter. In that moment, you offended that person so bad that they are willing to destroy your entire livelihood for it. So that is something that was really scary for me at first. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna open this question up because I just remember this question to Lady and Prayers. If y'all can think of something, if you could leave one message, about using your voice, what would it be to the people listening to the podcast today? And I mean, either one of y'all go first, no matter.
Okay, so for me, I think the biggest thing is make sure that you use your voice in the correct way. For me, the biggest thing I want to make sure that I use my platform is to get out, make sure that people get out and vote. That is really a big. I'm really, really big on that because you can complain all day in whatever space that you're in, but if you don't go out and vote, we just seen what people when people didn't go and vote, what we're getting, and the people who did go and vote and they voted a certain way. So that is one of the biggest things that I say. I definitely try to use my voice to, make sure that people get out and vote. And because we're in a not in a general, it's in a electoral where all of your real lawmakers are at. So whether that's sheriff, judges, all of those different capacities right now. So definitely get out and vote for your local elections. That's my opinion. And again, just making sure that you use it in the right way, whether in trying not to use your platform and your voice to hurt other people in any capacity. So yeah, that's my takeaway on that.
All right, lady.
Oh, okay, I did it. I mean, well, not even a takeaway. I guess my biggest send off is like you can say how you feel and say what you want to say without being flippant with your words. Because like if you choose to be flippant with what you gotta say, be ready to reap and receive all those consequences. Because it won't be that many rewards. Any rewards will be quick to come and quicker to go. But like I'm not saying don't be yourself because I'm not that person. If you're gonna be online, you're gonna have a presence. There's a way to be yourself and say your opinion without being flippant or trampling over someone else or a group of people. So you can be you and be considerate of others. It's fine. Do that. You ain't gotta cater to everybody either, because you'll never win.
You cannot cater to everybody. You cannot cater.
No.
You cannot cater to everybody because you gonna make yourself go tired trying to do that. You gonna make
You gonna
yourself
burn
tired.
out.
You're gonna be. Oh my god. But I'm just gonna say this, man. I'm going to end it off here. I want to thank everybody. Thank the great panel of everybody here. I want to thank, Lady Bunny once again. Press stopping by. I always love having you on the podcast, man. It was awesome. And for everybody watching the show, for everybody that was here, if you guys enjoyed the show, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button on the channel. We're trying to grow. We're trying to have these voices be spread. I want everybody to know that when it comes to Cooldown Den, their voices can be heard no matter how loud or quiet it may be. But I want to thank everybody for tuning in. As always, make sure y'all smash the like button on this video and subscribe. Next week, we're talking about remote work. We're talking about remote life and what it's like to work remote. So if anybody has worked remote, if you work from home, anything like that, hit me up if you want to be on the show. Let me know. I still got a couple spots available. I would love for you guys to be on the show. But you guys already know the vibes. You already know what I'm saying. Make sure y'all kiss them, you hug them, and tell them that you love them. Tell Laroni I said what's up, and I'll see y'all next time on the Cooldown Den. All right. I hit rate. She said, "Oh shit, I missed it." Okay, let me stop this.